welcome. This is the first episode of the Ear to the Canvas podcast. I'm your host, Ryan Truland. I just wanted to give you guys a little background on myself. I am from New Jersey, born and raised. I'm 24 years old, just graduated college. I'm currently working for a website called batsportspage.com. You can find us on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter. I highly recommend you guys checking us out. We put out great content. Every kind of sport. I write mostly UFC articles. Try to put out a couple articles a week. But that's enough about me. Let's get right into what the Ears to the Canvas podcast is going to be all about. So the Ears to the Canvas podcast is about mixed martial arts, mostly UFC. We'll be getting into all the latest news within the fight world. We'll also have creative topics and segments and even guest appearances from some up-and-coming fighters, some trainers, and many more. Each of the podcasts I do solo, I'll try to keep around a half hour, so we're going to get right into it. I want to first start talking about what just happened a couple days ago, this past Saturday, UFC Fight Night, Alistair Overeem versus Walt Harris. Let's just get right into the main event. My biggest takeaway from the main event, so happy we finally got to see this fight. It's been months in the making, pushed back to the coronavirus, as most of the fights have been. My biggest takeaway is Overeem can take a punch and come back. He is so hard to take out. So hard to beat. Been fighting since 1999. The guy just knows how to win. He knows how to not lose, too. Walt Harris dropped him, put him on his ass in just over a minute into the fight. Alistair Overeem was on the canvas. And he fought back. The fight could have been stopped. It would have been a little bit of an early stoppage. I'm glad they let it go on because Alistair Overeem came back with a vengeance. He got the takedown and he probably won the first round. With getting knocked down, he probably won the first round. That's how dominant he came back. That's how strong he came back. Then he got the finish in the second round. He put Walt Harris on the ground, and 2 minutes into the second round, Dan Miragliotta had to step in and end the fight. Alistair Overeem, victorious. Nobody wants to fight Alistair Overeem. There's not one guy in the heavyweight division that he can't beat. Been fighting for 20 plus years. He can beat everybody in the heavyweight division. So don't be surprised if he ends up making his way up to another title shot before he hangs up the gloves. So yeah, Overeem's chin, one of the best chins in the game. So it got me thinking, what are the other best chins? What guys can take a punch over the years? Who are the best? So I was thinking I would do the 5 best chins in the UFC. Mixed martial arts in general, honestly. So I'm a Jersey guy. This is in no particular order, but first I'm going to go with Frankie Edgar. All I gotta say, go watch the Gray Maynard fights. That's all you gotta do to know the chin of Frankie Edgar. His last loss to Korean Zombie, which happened last December, was the first time he ever got finished. Been fighting since 2005. And that was the first time he got finished. It's crazy. Second time, I'm sorry. Brian Ortega finished him too. Second time he ever got finished. Brian Ortega and Korean Zombie put him down. But that's it. Frankie Edgar is as tough as it comes. He's a problem for anybody in that division. Featherweight, lightweight, wherever he goes. He's a tough night out. So, number 2, Tony Ferguson. We just saw how good Tony Ferguson's chin is. Any other guy taking punches from Justin Gaethje like that would have been on the canvas. Tony Ferguson never hit the canvas. The referee had to stop the fight when Tony was still on his feet. It was a good stoppage, too, because he was taking shots. he was taking shots. And that was the first time in Tony's career. Tony's only lost 4 times in his career, but it's not like he doesn't get hit. He gets hit in a lot of his fights. Think back just a couple fights ago to the Anthony Pettis fight, how many times he got hit. Now he gives damage too. The other guy usually leaves the octagon looking worse than he does, but he sure does take damage. And to have that be the only time with the guys he's fought, Cowboy, Anthony Pettis, Kevin Lee, RDA, Edson Barbosa, he's fought some killers. And Gaethje was the only one to finish him, and he still didn't put him down. One of the best chins in the game. Third guy with the crazy chin. Gonna go with Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson doesn't fight anymore, but boy, could he take a shot. He was finished a few times back in Pride. He lost to Wanderlei Silva. But again, he lost a couple submissions, some decisions. But the first guy to ever actually put him out was Vitor. Vitor finished him twice, actually. The first time, it was a couple years apart. It was like 2013 and 15 or 16. Vitor put him out a couple times. Gegard Mousasi also finished Dan Henderson. But those are the only guys. Dan Henderson has fought, it seems like, 1 million fights. 3 guys have finished him. Guys fought everybody, too. Fedor he's fought. He's fought Vitor several times. Rashad Evans. Jake Shields. Michael Bisping. Rich Franklin. Silva. Everybody. One of the best chins in the game. And you don't want to get caught by his punches either. Number 4, gonna go with the Diaz brothers. Gonna lump them into 2 because their chins are basically the same and they're both phenomenal. Good luck putting down the Diaz brothers. Either one of them. Let's start with Nate. I mean, his last fight against Jorge Masvidal, Masvidal just looked like he looked like the younger fighter. He looked like the more explosive fighter, the more powerful fighter. He finished Nate. Nate's getting older, though. That's the thing. Early on in his career, you could not put Nate down. You could beat him by decision. He lost a bunch of decision fights early on in his career as he was coming up to contendership. But first guy to finish him was Josh Thompson. Him and Jorge Masvidal are the only guys to ever finish Nate. Think about the guys Nate has fought. Nate has fought Gray Maynard. Nate has fought Josh Thompson, Jim Miller, Cowboy Cerrone, Benson Henderson, McGregor twice, RDA. All the best. Over such a long period of time. The guy can take a shot. The guy can take dozens of shots. Same goes for his brother Nick, too. Nick Diaz, Nick and Nate are cut from the exact same cloth. Not only do they have some of the best cardio in the game, they also got some of the best chins ever. Ever. Obviously, Nick hasn't fought in a while. He lost a few towards the end there, but they were decisions. The only guy to ever put him out was somebody early on in his career. KO'd him, but one guy. The Diaz brothers are freaks. Some of the best. That's why they got so many fans. I'm one of them. So yeah, Frankie Edgar, Tony Ferguson, Dan Henderson, the Diaz brothers. And the last guy I'm going to go with is Quentin Rampage Jackson. A lot of people forget about how scary Quentin was. Rampage Jackson is still one of the best fighters ever. He's lost like 3 out of his last 4. He's fighting in Bellator right now, but back in his Pride days and his UFC days, the guy was an animal. And you were not going to finish him. He's been finished recently by Fedor, but besides that, he lost. He was finished a few times in Pride against Wanderlei Silva and Shogun, but once he got into the UFC, nobody finished him. John Jones submitted him. That's it. Quentin Rampage Shatson is as tough as it gets. He's still going. Still fighting in Bellator. So yeah, those are 5 of the best shins in the sport. There are other guys, but no particular order. Just those are 5 of the best. And Overeem's one of them. Overeem could very well be on that list, and he showed that Saturday night against Walt Harris. Walt Harris put him down, and it looked like Walt was gonna walk away with that victory. And Overeem just showed what a veteran does. He stayed composed, defended himself to avoid the referees to step in and stop the fight. He avoided that, got up to his feet, took Walt down, ground and pounded him. Once in the second round, he did the same thing, got him flattened out, got his back, flattened him out, and just finished the fight. He took some damage, but he finished the fight. Yeah, but also Saturday night, just more of the questionable judges. Come on. I could name 3 fights that I just did not see it the way the judges saw it. And first, Marlon Vera beat Son Yadon. He just did. I like Son Yadon. He's a great prospect. He's going to do great things in the UFC, but Marlon Vera, the veteran, he beat him. I was watching that with my family and a friend. Everybody in the house, we watched the entire fight. Everybody had Vera winning that fight. We were all shocked. I also had Edson Barbosa beating Dan Ige. That was a close fight, but I had Edson getting the edge on Ige in that one. It was Barbosa's first fight down at featherweight. Ige is a powerful featherweight. Scary featherweight, too. That division is deep. He was ranked 15. That division is deep. Because it's not a crime that he won that decision, but I thought Barbosa had that. It is a crime that Yadon won that decision over Vera. Because Vera definitely won that fight. Also, the co-main event, I had Angel Hill beating Claudia Gadelha. She lost that fight in decision. Claudia won. I had Angel Hill winning that fight. She dropped her in the second round. She won the third round. Gadelha won the first round, but it was 2-1 after that. Angel Hill, she was pissed too after that decision. I don't blame her. She's been the most active fighter in the UFC this year, 2020. She deserved better than that. She would have cracked into the top 15 with a win. She still may, because she should be in the top 15 in that division. But she might have cracked the top 10 with the win over Gadelha, who was ranked 6th. UFC judging is bizarre. It's just bizarre. Week in and week out. You get questionable decisions. And the fans all know it. The fans are all saying that judging needs a rework. They need to rework the scoring system. Enough is enough already. These guys' careers are on the line. These guys and girls' careers are on the line in these fights. Now, Angel Hill, she won't lose much stock, I don't think. She shouldn't. That loss shouldn't hurt her too much. For Barbosa, I hope that loss doesn't hurt him too much. Because he looked good at featherweight. If you saw him at the weigh-ins, he looked good. He didn't look fatigued. He didn't look drawn out from the weight cut. His first weight cut to 145. He looked good. He looked good in there too. I would have liked to see more. I would have liked to see him. I think the power of Ige is what surprised him. Because he took some shots from Ige for sure. It made him almost wary of throwing all those kicks. Barboza's got the best hits in the sport. I had baseball bats. But Marlon Vera, too, I feel bad for him. Yadon's an undefeated prospect. He's still undefeated now with that win. So good for him, but Marlon Vera could have really benefited from that win over Yadon. And it's almost like he's going to be forgotten about after another loss. But, well, upcoming events for the UFC, it's very, we don't know everything just yet. It's not 100% confirmed, but May 30th, Tyron Woodley versus Gilbert Burns is supposedly in the works. Alright, let me just take a quick break to tell you guys about our sponsor, Anchor. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's an app available to download on your computer, iPhone, or Android, and it's the easiest way to make a podcast. For starters, it's free. Everything's free on Anchor, and it gives you all kinds of tools that allow you to record and edit and create your very own podcast right from your computer or phone. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, man, how do I get my podcast out to the people? Well, Anchor even distributes your podcast on all the biggest platforms such as Spotify and Apple Music. You can even profit from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Anchor is everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Go download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. That's a good main event. I'm almost surprised Woodley took that fight. Woodley is one of the best welterweights of all time, former champion. Coming off that loss to Usman. He was supposed to fight Leon Edwards until that got canceled due to COVID. Now he's fighting Gilbert Burns, who is a scary up-and-comer, all-around fighter in that welterweight division. Very capable of taking out Tyron Woodley. And Woodley does not gain as much from a win over Burns as he would have Leon Edwards, or another top fighter in that division. But it's just as dangerous. Burns is just as dangerous. That's a great fight. Now, June 6th, UFC 250. Not looking good. I wouldn't pay more than $250 for this card, the way it stands today. It's a pay-per-view. Main event is Amanda Nunes versus Felicia Spencer. Okay. That's a co-main event in my eyes, but okay. Rest of the card, pretty much prelims. As it stands today, rest of the card is pretty much prelims. You got Charles Byrd, is a Contender Series fighter, fighting Maki Pitolo. You got Ian Heinisch versus Gerald Marchart. Alex Perez versus Jessier Formiga. That's a good fight. That's a flyweight fight. The Heinisch-Marchart fight is good too. Alonzo Menenfield versus Devin Clark is a good fight. That's probably going to be a knockout finish. Two powerful guys. But there's no way this is a pay-per-view card. There's just no way. I get it's a title fight. Nunes versus Spencer. Women's featherweight title bout. Greatest female fighter of all time. The rest of the card as it stands today is just... it is not worth the $60 or $75 for the pay-per-view. That is ridiculous. That's a crime. That's stealing money. Times like this, I get... Dana White says fighters want to fight. Fighters are dying to fight still during these circumstances. Well, where are they? Starts 3 weeks away. How many fights are you going to add in 3 weeks? They better get moving, though. Because the pay-per-view buys are going to be laughable. People have no sports to watch, and they're still going to be laughable if they dish this out on June 6th. Yeah, so let's hope not. Let's hope not. We need something great in days like today, days like this. Add another good fight. Leon Edwards wants to fight. There's guys out there. There's great co-main events you You can throw a co-main event. There's 3 weeks. You're running out of time, though. Running out of time. One thing I'm really, really curious about is what's going on between Jon Jones and Francis Ngannou. Because obviously Dominic Reyes wants another crack at Jon Jones. He wants the next crack at Jon Jones. He doesn't want to wait. He doesn't want to sit out or have to fight another guy, risk losing. He would probably fight Santos if he's healthy, which is a frightening fight for anybody. He doesn't want to do that. He almost beat Jon Jones. He almost beat the greatest of all time. Does he deserve an immediate rematch? A lot of people think so. But is it the biggest fight? It's probably not. Francis Ngannou versus Jon Jones is probably the biggest fight. And that's not even a title fight. We don't know what's going on in the heavyweight division as far as title fights are concerned. Stipe wants to fight, but he doesn't know where to train. Cormier wants to fight. Before he hangs it up, he wants to fight Stipe. He doesn't want to fight Francis. You could hear it in his voice when Francis rolled through Rosenstruik last week. You could hear it in his voice. He doesn't want to fight Ngannou. There's a way he has to win. He said it himself. The way he would have to win that fight is not what the fans want to see. He would have to take Francis down, keep him there, ground and pound, submit him. That's not what the fans want to see. He said it himself. Not what I want to see. I want to see the trilogy. I do. I want to see DC versus Stipe. It's unfinished business. It's the fight that should happen. And as far as Jon Jones is concerned, as far as Francis Ngannou is concerned, he definitely should not. I don't think he should fight again unless it's a title fight. The guy deserves a title fight. His last few fights, he's just rolling through guys in the first round. He deserves another crack at the title. He wasn't ready the first time. He's ready now. He's ready to take over that division. He really is. It's Ngannou's time in the heavyweight division. Hopefully they wrap up the Stipe and DC trilogy, and then Ngannou's going to get his time. And for Jon Jones, Dominic Reyes is the most intriguing. You still got Thiago Santos, too. And then you got Jan Blachowicz. And then you got Israel Adesanya down there in middleweight who wants to fight him. There are a lot of options out there for Mr. Jon Jones. Hopefully he doesn't do anything dumb and he can stay active. Because there are guys out there. My guess? He wants the money fight. I really wouldn't be surprised if it's Jon Jones versus Francis Ngannou next. I really wouldn't. He wants the big fight. That's bigger than Reyes. Just is. Jon Jones beats Ngannou too, in my opinion. I think he does. He can win the fight from anywhere. Ngannou can't. Jon Jones can take a shot. We'll see if he can take Ngannou's. He can also avoid shots. And he is a master at using his reach, both in his legs and his arms. It's a tough fight for Ngannou. I think that's the fight Jon Jones is trying to do. And how about Conor McGregor? The notorious Conor McGregor. What do we do with him? What is he going to do? Gaethje doesn't want to fight him. Gaethje wants Khabib. That's the fight that's going to happen too. It's going to be Khabib versus Gaethje. And what does McGregor do? Does he fight Nate Diaz? Nate's coming off a loss, though. They got to get that rubber match done. They've won one apiece in that bitter rivalry. Fans want to see that. They do that. It's now the best time. Why wait? Or does he fight Masvidal? Masvidal wants a big fight. He doesn't care if it's for the title. He wants the money. McGregor's money. That's a sick fight. Masvidal McGregor. It'll be one of those two, I think. It'll be Nate or Masvidal. I think Masvidal. I don't know what they're going to do with Nate. Does Nate want to fight? Who knows? Who knows? There's exciting things out there, though. The UFC has exciting things on the horizon. Every division is interesting. But as for UFC 250, can they just combine the cards? Can they have Woodley and Burns be the co-main? That would make a little sense. It's only a week apart. Just push Woodley and Burns back to June 6th. Be at least maybe worth paying for. But as it stands right now, that is a comical card to ask $60, $75 for. But I'll be watching. There'll be a lot of people watching. There's nothing to do, so they can do that. But I expect them to add at least another fight. I think the co-main, one or two more fights will be added, I think. I really do. Dana's been able to work pretty fast under these unique circumstances. He really has. I give a lot of props to Dana White. I really do. After seeing that Jacare Souza came out, tested positive with 2 of his cornermen last week, everything could have went off the rails, but they kept going. Nobody else tested positive, and they ran out 2 more events after that. Great work by Dana White in the UFC. And as for Ear to the Canvas, I think episode 1 is a wrap. Look for episode 2. You can find me, Back to Sports page. You can find me, Ryan Truland, on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And as for Ear to the Canvas, episode 1, we're out.